I'm trying that sleeping with my eyes open thing. No,
Doesn't everybody?
I'm up.
Not working for me. I know you can do it, but
I tweet in my sleep, actually.
Good research by Craig.
exactly. Kansas and NC State coming up next here. Give me broad strokes on this. What's the one thing you are looking for most importantly in this game, Coach?
Well, C.J. Leslie against Thomas Robinson, that's going to be a key matchup. I think both teams have good role players around them, but which one of those stars is going to step up and play bigger tonight?
Smith.
Point guard play for me. I think when you start looking at Lorenzo Brown and also Tyshawn Taylor, which guy defensively can control the other one, and then I think also which one can get into the lane and kick out for some guys, knocking down some threes.
I mean, it's a big game. You need your best players to play big. And in the last game, Thomas Robinson and Tyshawn Taylor did not play big. I think it's important for Kansas for Taylor to get off to a good start. See the ball go in, make some good plays, feel some confidence. He's got a tendency sometimes to get a little bit wayward with the basketball. He's cut down on that this year. He's shown a lot more maturity, but did not shoot the ball well against Purdue. If he comes out and makes a couple of good baskets early on, I think Kansas will have a good night.
Can North Carolina beat? It's hard to say this, but I mean, can North Carolina beat the winner of this game if they play playing without Kendall Marshall again?
Well, they can. They're going to have to play again with more emotion, and particularly if it's NC State, that's going to be obviously a bloodbath with that rivalry. Kansas is going to be an interesting dynamic as well because Roy Williams used to coach at Kansas. Either way, I think Carolina has the advantage in that they just played a game without Kendall Marshall, so it won't be, and Coach Williams pointed it out, it won't be their first time playing without him.
Hey, one little note to pass on before we split, too. Had Ohio won that game, would have been the first 12 seed or lower to ever beat a #1 seed. In that case now, 12 seeds and lower, 0-134 against #1. But this one went to overtime. Kansas, NC State.
You're saying there's a chance.
Here on TBS. Yeah, there's a chance.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
I'm sleeping with my eyes open.
Almost.
Game 2 of the Midwest Regional Semifinal from St. Louis, with a large contingent of Kansas supporters making the trip from the campus at large. About a 5-hour drive, and they will be heard from throughout the evening as the number 11 seed of the Midwest, the Wolfpack of North Carolina State, faces the 2nd seed Jayhawks of Kansas, the winner to go up against North Carolina in the regional final here on Sunday. Hi, everybody. Marv Albert along with Steve Kerr, Craig Sager. Craig working the sidelines. We'll hear from him in just a moment. Now, Steve, in last Sunday's Kansas come from behind win over Purdue, the Boilermakers did a terrific job at holding National Player of the Year candidate Thomas Robinson in check. They threw double teams, they threw triple teams. What do you see in the matchup tonight against North Carolina State's leading scorer, C.J. Leslie, going up against Robinson?
Marv, they're both dynamic players, but they go about their business a little different way. Thomas Robinson wants to beat you inside with strength. C.J. Leslie likes to use his quickness. Remember, both clubs lack front court depth, so foul trouble could be an issue. But if those guys each have good games, Marv, it may come down to backcourt play. Both clubs with really athletic guard play, particularly Kansas. Remember this play, Elijah Johnson, the lob pass to Tyshawn Taylor late in that Purdue game. That was such a big basket. But NC State has a great guard in Lorenzo Brown, one of the best in the ACC, and C.J. Williams, the senior, averages 10 points. He's going to need to knock down a couple of threes to loosen up his Kansas defense.
So coming up, it's Kansas and North Carolina State vying to make it to the Midwest Regional Final on Sunday against the Tar Heels of North Carolina.
Which month would I lose to get more in March? More of this? January? Yeah, definitely January.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Infinity, Dish, and by Fidelity Investments.
You've had to earn it. You've had to take it. Nobody's going to hand you anything. They're not going to hand it to you tonight. You're going to earn it. You're going to go get it. There's 7 billion people in the world, and you know what tonight is? It's your night.
Wolfpack head coach Mark Godfrey looking to get his team going as we check out the starting lineup. C.J. Leslie, three-point specialist. Scott Wood and Richard Howell on the front line. C.J. Williams and Lorenzo Brown at the guards. Kansas with Thomas Robinson and Jeff Withey as the big men, along with Travis Rutherford, Elijah Johnson, and Tyshawn Taylor in the backcourt. North Carolina State, Adam Raleigh, advancing to the Sweet 16 in Columbus by beating San Diego State. And last Sunday, that 66-63 win over third seed Georgetown. And the Jayhawks coming off that come-from-behind win against Purdue last Sunday. They actually led for only 45 seconds of that game.
That was a brutal matchup for Kansas. They had all kinds of trouble guarding Robbie Hummel. I think this is a better matchup here today, Marv, as Leslie tries to get to the rim, but the tip in from Howell. But for Kansas, this is a more conventional team they're playing against. They don't have as much ground to cover. NC State, not a great three-point shooting club, so their guards should be able to come down and get plenty of help on Leslie.
Robinson gets inside, comes up short. The Wolfpack 22-12 during the season, 9-7 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Leslie is blocked from behind by Withey. And here come the Jayhawks. They have won 11 of their last 12 games. Johnson way off, and the ball back to North Carolina State. 11 of the last 12, including the wins over Detroit and Purdue, to advance to the Sweet 16. And this a Kansas team that has overachieved, maybe one of the best coaching jobs done by Bill Self.
No question. Think about who they lost. The Morris twins. They lost both their starting wings. And I think Taylor's going to get called for a kick, which is a good call there. Delayed, but they got it right. But they lost. They also lost Josh Selby, Morningstar, Reed, and 4 starters for Bill Self are gone. And they pick up right where they left off, basically, and end up as a 2 seed in this region. Just another brilliant coaching job by Self.
This is the point guard, Lorenzo Brown, and he fires for 3. He shoots 42% from downtown and leads the Wolfpack with 94 from beyond that three-point line. So the fast start by NC State. That's a three-point attempt by Taylor. And the ball back in the hands of Brown, the 6'5" sophomore. As you mentioned earlier, very big backcourt, both Williams and Brown at 6'5". Here's Leslie rejected by Withey. Taylor with a hesitation move. And draws the foul.
Well, the reason I said I think this is a better matchup for Kansas than Purdue was is that Jeff Withey, playing against a big team, can stay on the floor and he can protect the rim. And look at the block there. He was the Big 12's Defensive Player of the Year. In that Purdue game, he was frequently off the floor because Purdue basically played 4 three-point shooters out on the floor with 1 big in the middle. So same thing against Missouri. Their 2 matchups against the smaller Tigers. Withey ended up on the bench frequently. So in a more conventional game like this one, Withey can anchor that Kansas defense in the paint.
Howell on the foul. Taylor is 69% free throw shooter earlier tonight here in St. Louis in overtime. A terrific finish with Ohio coming from 15 back, taking the lead on several occasions, up by 4 against the Tar Heels of North Carolina with about 3.5 minutes to go. The game went into overtime, and North Carolina was able to pull it out 73-65.
They got to be pretty worried right now, though, about Sunday, regardless of which one of these two teams they're facing.
Another block by Withey. That is his 3rd rejection here in the opening minutes.
He averages about 3.5. It's tops in the Big 12.
Brown forced it. Back comes Robinson. You can see they closed the space on Robinson and it led to the travel.
And it's just a bad play. Bill Self very upset. Kansas has a very unique style, a very distinguished style that they play. You'll always hear Bill Self talk about playing on the second side, and what that means is starting the offense on one side, pounding it in, and then reversing the ball to get the defense to have to work. Robinson totally out of control, not allowing that offense to develop.
Howell, Taylor grabs the rebound. The only other time Kansas played NC State in the NCAA tournament, Jayhawks won it 26 years ago to the day. It was March 23rd, 1986 in Kansas City. Leslie is hacked. And at that time, Bill Self was a graduate student of Larry Brown's staff at Kansas. Bill says there was no room for him on the bench. He was actually in the stands behind the bench, and there's the one-time head coach of Kansas who won an NCAA title, Larry Brown, who Bill was telling us the other day has been a frequent visitor to practice at Lawrence.
Won that title in 1988. They beat Oklahoma in the final, and Danny Manning had one of the great games in NCAA tournament history against the Sooners. I want to say 37 points and 18 rebounds, or
we're going to fact check
something like that. Maybe 38 and 17.
Take another guess.
Either way, it was a lot of points and a lot of rebounds.
Elijah Johnson with the intended lob for Jeff Withey, and Kansas off to a very poor start.
Yeah, much like last week against Purdue, the difference, though, Marv, is that these are all unforced errors. Purdue was very physical with Kansas, and they bothered Thomas Robinson from the beginning, and I thought they took Kansas out of their game. These are unforced errors. The Jayhawks just need to settle down.
Kansas 0 for 4 from the field. They have 2 turnovers. Leslie gets inside. Nice move by C.J. Leslie, and a timeout is called. The Wolfpack with a 9-1 lead in the opening minutes.
In the final round,
the audience choice ingredient?
Bud Light.
And here we go.
Looks like Chef Dubois is emulsifying the Bud Light into a foam. What's his competitor doing?
He appears to be having a really good time.
A Bud Light reduction for Dubois. And his opponent?
Also improvising nicely. Let's see that again.
Judges.
I like the use of the pressure cooker to tenderize the beef.
But also the use of the cell phone to order the pizza.
It's the sure sign of a good time. Just right taste of Bud Light. Here we go.
Sorry, Chef, we're going to need more ingredient.
Look at our tournament summary. Syracuse with the win yesterday, making their first Elite Eight appearance since back in 2003. Baylor, a winner earlier against Xavier, second Elite Eight last 3 years. Big Ten, 10 up, 4 down thus far. Indiana out of the Big Ten, facing Kentucky late first half over on CBS and trailing by 3. Nice move by Robinson.
That was that second side we talked about, Marv. They started the ball on one side, swung it, and got great position for Robinson on the other. Kansas just has to be patient offensively, and they'll be able to get some good looks.
Backdoor pass broken up. That was the first field goal by Kansas. They were down 8-0 at the start to Purdue as Robbie Hummel was heating up early.
I'll say, was he ever?
There's Taylor off a pick, not able to hit the 3. Brown played by Taylor. Williams for 3. C.J. Williams, who shoots 34% from downtown adds to the North Carolina State lead.
Well, I think C.J. Williams and Wood are really important performers for North Carolina State tonight because of their ability to knock down threes. Whippy loses the ball out of bounds. And meanwhile, Kansas has to settle down. This was their only good possession of the game so far. That's when they've looked like themselves, getting the ball to that second side, and Robinson down deep.
Welcome back to St. Louis. NC State leads 12-3. This is a rare matchup between two teams that each have 5 players who have scored 20 or more points in a game this year. But it's hard to imagine Kansas advancing without a big game from the Big 12 Player of the Year, Thomas Robinson. After going 2 for 12 against Purdue, he and assistant coach Danny Manning spent extensive time in the film room this week. They said, attacking Leslie, you have to catch the ball with long arms, attack his front foot, and play the angles to the basket. On the defensive end, they want Robinson to hold his ground, do not let him drive to the basket, and do not reach in and commit fouls. So they've been spending a lot of time working on this one-on-one matchup that you guys talked about at the beginning of the show. Mark?
All right, Craig, and C.J. Leslie, the leading scorer for North Carolina State, averaging just under 15 a game plus 7 rebounds. He does have issues with fouls, as does Richard Howell. Leslie on the rebound, puts it right back up. The tip is missed, but a foul is called on Kansas. Well, this year, enjoy more madness with Coke Zero. You can text CAMP to 2653 for a chance to attend an ultimate basketball camp with 3 of your friends. Well, Connor Tehan, who had just checked in, called for the foul. Deshaun Preacher has come on for North Carolina State, Wolfpack's first man off the bench. So he has come on as both clubs now making some substitutions.
Painter comes in for Richard Howell, who is very foul prone for NC State, and he's a really important player for the Wolfpack. So I think foul trouble both ways is going to be very important because neither team has a lot of depth down low. Kansas was fortunate that time that neither Robinson nor Withy drew that foul and went on Tehan instead.
Kevin Young has also come on for Kansas. Here is Elijah Johnson off on that three-point attempt, rebounded by Young. Young played well the other day against Purdue. Here's Robinson, offensive foul.
Great play from Leslie Marv, who read the play, anticipated the move from Robinson after the pass from Kevin Young, and Robinson just lowers his shoulder. Leslie, nice job taking that charge.
And Thomas Robinson takes a seat. That's his first personal. Light pressure shown by Kansas. No problem for North Carolina State. Three-pointer was off the mark by C.J. Williams, and here comes Taylor. Taylor splits through. Rebound is by Young, and he backs it in.
Well, when we talked to Mark Gottfried yesterday, we said, what are you concerned about? He didn't talk about Robinson. We talked about transition defense. He said we have to limit Kansas's transition baskets, particularly Taylor and Johnson getting out ahead of us.
At the other end, North Carolina State, a very good shooting team. 46% from the field. At the line, they've had their problems recently. Leslie rejected that. The 4th block for Withy. Taylor trying to go baseline, gets it out to Johnson. Elijah Johnson. He was expecting contact and the foul. So Johnson with his first field goal.
I think NC State wanted a charge called on Johnson there as Brown gets tripped up, but again, no call.
1-on-3, and Johnson is hit from behind by C.J. Williams. Elijah Johnson has had a tremendous tournament, a major factor in that come-from-behind win last week against Purdue. And here's Withy with block number 4.
Yeah, how about the start for him? And because NC State does not shoot the 3 particularly well, Kansas really able to pack its defense in. The guards are digging down and helping, and then Withy just standing right at the rim waiting for any shot.
7-footer Jeff Withy, a junior out of San Diego. Tehan. Withy able to get to it. Tehan, Young. I don't know if Tehan lost it or actually got it to Young on the hop. But Kansas coming back now within 4 off a 6-0 run. 7 minutes gone by. Marv Albert with Steve Kerr, Craig Sager from St. Louis. Peter Howell with the follow. Richard Howell. Average 11 points, 9 rebounds.
With Robinson on the bench, Kansas has gone to a smaller lineup. Howell just too big and strong for Kansas.
And Withey able to use the height advantage on Painter.
What a start for Withey, who has to feel comfortable in this setting. So different from last week's game against Purdue, when a lot of small guys out there that space the floor.
As a result, he could play only 15 minutes. Withey with block number 5. Recovered by Williams, C.J. Williams. It's kind of a late wake-up call once again for Kansas, but now North Carolina State has their attention.
Seems like Kansas is finally getting a little momentum, getting their crowd into it as well. And they're settling down offensively, doing a better job being patient.
Elijah Johnson pops it outside. Withey off the dribble. Withey lost it. Chased down by Tehan. And it may be a backcourt violation, yes. It was batted by Withey into the backcourt of the North Carolina State ball when we come back.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update for you. Over on CBS in Atlanta, Indiana staying right with Kentucky, but the Wildcats, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist with the bucket there. It is a 45-43 Kentucky lead, about a minute remaining in the first half. Marvin Steve.
All right, thank you, Greg. It is a 17-11 lead for North Carolina State. And they are in possession of that backcourt violation a moment ago. Alex Johnson has taken in, has come on for the point guard Lorenzo Brown. He is the backup. Johnson, a senior out of Toronto. Painter able to recover. Here comes Johnson. And he turns it over.
Tough to find an angle in there with both Withey and Robinson in the paint. Johnson, maybe a little over penetration on that one.
Rutherford coming off the screen, coming off a big game against Purdue last Sunday. Robinson will just check back in. And here is Wood for 3. Robinson with the rebound. Nice pass down low, and Thomas Robinson with a second field goal. North Carolina State try to break and turn it over.
Yeah, poor decision there from Brown. Meanwhile, at the other end, probably the best possession we've seen so far. A little bit of a secondary fast break for Kansas. They get the ball swung a couple times, and that allows Robinson the angle to get position. That's when he's so difficult to guard. It's not so much once he gets the ball, it's before he gets the ball. And if his teammates are moving the ball on the perimeter, he can gain deep position, and then it's just a matter of catching and turning and laying it in.
Robinson trying to get a piece of it. That counts in the foul. The follow by Rutherford, and he will head to the line.
Another great possession for Kansas, getting the ball deep inside, and then you see the little hip check from Lorenzo Brown. So Kansas with 2 consecutive possessions where they've looked like themselves. Well, I'm sure Bill Self is happy. His club, after that horrendous start, has climbed right back in it.
3-point play for Travis Rutherford. North Carolina State now going with a backcourt of both Lorenzo Brown and Alex Johnson. Kansas within 1. Johnson for 3. Howell with the rebound. Blocked by Withey. It's number 6. Leslie trying to scoop it up. And Johnson able to keep it alive.
Oh, Withey has just been a monster here. Six blocks in 10 minutes.
At ties the Kansas block shot record for a half. Cole Aldridge coming up with 6 back in 2009. When you think back to Kansas history as Leslie fires from 3-point range, now not able to control Rutherford. You think Wilt Chamberlain but they did not keep block shot statistics until 1974.
Yeah.
Off the fake, Taylor tried to draw the foul, thought he was fouled, and now we get a call. It is on Howell of North Carolina State.
Well, look at the timing here on Withey. It looks like Howell's got a lay-in. He's been a beast on the offensive glass, and Withey denies it. Incredible defense here. The next step for Kansas is to try to secure some of those blocks on the other end, because North Carolina State with about 7 offensive rebounds to this point.
Thomas Robinson, a 68% free throw shooter. The NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues tomorrow. Regional semifinal action as Tennessee takes on Kansas. Coverage begins at noon Eastern. For more information, go to ncaa.com. So I'd have to say, quite a year for the Jayhawks men and women basketball teams. Game is tied at 17, just under 10 minutes remaining in this first half.
Withey gets a rest, Marv. We got a standing ovation from the Kansas crowd during that free throw when he went to the bench. And Kansas goes back to that smaller lineup. And you see Kevin Young on Leslie.
Howell not able to hit. And the call is made away from the ball.
They got Leslie, Marvin, and that's his second foul. That was a frustration foul. And about 2 possessions ago, we saw him launch a three-pointer, which is not his game. Look at this. He pulls Young from behind. I think a little frustrated. Marvin, Leslie is a 31% three-point shooter. He's only made 4 all season. So, he launches a 3. Now he commits the quick foul. He's 1 for 8 overall. Very frustrating start for him, and Mark Gottfried gets him to the bench.
And Kansas, after the slow start, working their way back. They swing it. 3-point attempt by Taylor. Robinson with the rebound. He looked to tie him up, and he called for time. So he saved the possession. Timeout, Kansas. We'll be back to St. Louis in a moment. A look at our game summary. And you see North Carolina State just 6 for 23 after the good start. Kansas 7 for 20 and 0 for 5 from beyond that 3-point line. The Wolfpack, led by as many as 10, they jumped in front 13-3 in the opening minutes.
Well, their defense is really impressive too, Marv. They're very athletic on the front line. They're long in the backcourt, and now they've switched to a 2-3 zone for the second possession in a row.
Nice pass. Robinson will head back to the line. Painter on the foul. Thomas Robinson, who has come back from a difficult year last season over a 3-week stretch, December, January of his sophomore year, lost his mother, his grandmother, and his grandfather. Just an unimaginable time of his life. And he has come back to be one of the best players in the country, while last year he was coming off the bench because the Jayhawks were loaded.
Yeah, it was particularly the Morris twins. And I think the benefit for Robinson, despite not playing much, he got to practice against the Morris twins the last couple of years, and that's definitely benefited him here in his junior season.
First lead of the night for Kansas off a 16-4 run. Williams off the spin, rebounded by Robinson. That's his 7th rebound. Robinson on the drive, scoops it. And the foul is called on Kansas. Looked like Kevin Young trying to squeeze through. It's on Young. That's his first.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Coca-Cola Zero, the new Enterprise Plus, and by John Deere.
Back in St. Louis, we mentioned NC State in a zone. Watch this. This is beautiful basketball by Kansas, running a zone offense. They're going to bring Relaford around and around a double pick along the baseline. And as he goes, it forces Howell, to the defender for NC State, to step outside. Then there's a pick set on the big man, and that gives Robinson the lane. And he gets fouled and gets a couple free throws out of it. Well done.
Kansas has come from 10 back. They lead by 2. Just under 8 minutes remaining, first half. Oh, the steal by Robinson. Williams is back. Robinson all the way. Thomas Robinson playing well in this first half. Howell lost the handle. Johnson for Relaford. Young off the fake, rejected by Wood of the Wolfpack.
Great transition defense for North Carolina State. Looked like they were going to get beat with a fast break hoop. But they are an athletic team. They can react quickly.
Jeff Withey coming on for Thomas Robinson, who hears it from the large contingent from Kansas. 10-0 run by the Jayhawks. Taylor. That will count. It's a goal time.
Well, we mentioned both these clubs thin on the bench. Well, they both played 7 guys, but I think Kansas's depth is a little more pronounced because those 7 are very prominent players. NC State, Painter plays significant minutes, but Johnson just scattered minutes here and there. I think Kansas can wear out NC State a little bit.
Open shot for Wood. It's waved off. Offensive foul. Illegal pick set by Howell.
And that's 2 on Howell, and that's a factor because look at this. These are the 7 guys who play. Johnson only 16 minutes, Painter 17. He'll get more minutes here with Howell now. Was that on Howell? Did he pick up his second? I believe he did.
Yes.
So that's a major problem. Leslie and Howell with 2 fouls apiece.
Oh, the steal. Taylor lost it to Brown. Here's Brown. Nice feed. C.J. Leslie with the bucket. That ends the 12-0 run by Kansas.
Leslie was so good last weekend against San Diego State and Georgetown. Just dominating down on the block physically, but this bigger Kansas defense has frustrated him so far tonight. We'll see if that hoop gets him going.
Leslie has picked up his play in the last 10-11 games. Taylor working baseline. Taylor deflects. Relaford ends up with it. Withey gets on the floor and then a strip. Instead of going right up, put it on the deck and it costs. Here's Brown for Leslie.
Withey needed to go straight up with that, Marv. Instead, he brought the ball all the way down and tried to gain some momentum with his legs. You got to go straight up with that if you're a big man. Otherwise, those guards come down and strip you.
Kansas with a 2-point lead, just under 6 to go. First half. Withey over Leslie. Foul is called. It is on Kansas. Relaford waving that it's on him, but it is not. It's on Kevin Young.
Yeah, which I think will be his second, and that'll bring Thomas Robinson back into the game. You see, well, Withey, not really a guy you go to on the block offensively. He's the guy you want on the weak side to clean up an offensive rebound. And Kansas gets Robinson back into the game. I'm sure they're going to go into him.
Coming into tonight, North Carolina State has won 6 of its last 7. The 1 loss to North Carolina in the ACC. Leslie sweeping for it, then Painter is fouled by Taylor. They lost that 2-point game to the Tar Heels in the semifinals of the ACC. Back in late February, they had dropped 4 straight, all within the conference, and it appeared they were dropping into oblivion, and then able to rally at the end of the season. They finished up at 22-12. And Painter will go to the line. Sean Painter, 72% free throw shooter. TNT this summer, new blood, old feuds. You can relate to that, Steve. Same battleground. Dallas for the latest on the all-new TNT series. Like us on Facebook.
You're talking about North Carolina State's season, Marv. It is Mark Gottfried's first year, and he inherited plenty of talent. But there were some question marks about just the chemistry and the direction of the team. And one thing he did was he came right in and he's told Lorenzo Brown, this is your team. And everybody else kind of followed suit. Brown has been the leader for them. And the talent has really taken over. Gottfried's done a great job of putting people in position to succeed.
Connor coming up short on a three, and it's taken away. Good follow by Connor, and that counts, plus the foul. Connor Keehan able to scoop up the rebound. Painter on the foul.
We've seen a lot of this tonight for Kansas. Loose balls, guys just getting a hand on it. The 50-50 balls kind of going their way. Mark Gottfried frustrated with that one. Keehan, a three-point shooter, not normally a guy who's going to get in there and claw his way to an offensive putback.
And a couple of critical threes against Purdue last Sunday. Completes the three-point play, and Kansas up by 4. Brown handling against Johnson. Brown trying to get it to Wood. Wood has attempted only one shot, and he's an excellent shooter. Brown fires and hits from downtown. Lorenzo Brown with the 3. That's his second 3 of the half. As we come up on 4 minutes to play in this first half, the Kansas lead is 1. Elijah Johnson, yes. Oh, Brown runs into Johnson. The foul is on Johnson.
That's going to be Johnson's second, Marv, and that's important. Tyshawn Taylor will get off the bench to replace him. Johnson has been phenomenal. In fact, last 4 games averaging 18 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Made 12 out of his 25 threes. During that time, we saw the huge effort in the second half against Purdue in Omaha a week ago.
Yeah, Elijah Johnson has made the transition from a guy who comes off the bench averaging 4 points to a starter. During the season, averaging 10 a game, 4 assists, but as you mentioned, he has really picked it up in the tournament. Robinson is looking for position down low. Taylor. Rutherford finding Withy. Taylor just turning on Robinson and hitting the outside shot.
Well, he can make that shot. He averages 6 points a game, most of which are little jump shots around the 12, 15-foot range. And you have to be aware. You've got to get a hand up on him. It's interesting watching this game, Marv. It's like it's being played in a much smaller radius than a lot of the games we've seen. Very little three-point shooting, so the spacing is poor for both clubs. And both defenses really packing the paint.
Nice cut by Brown, and then someone got a hand in. Leslie trying to fire it up, and Rutherford comes up with it. The winner between North Carolina State and Kansas will take on the Tar Heels of North Carolina, who just did get by Ohio, and they did it in overtime. Robinson rims out. Here comes Lorenzo Brown. Leslie. And a foul is called.
We got Withy, Marv, blocking on Leslie, excuse me.
See real stories of human achievement featured on the Buick Human Highlight Reel at ncaa.com/Buick. The head coach, North Carolina State, Mark Gottfried, in his first season with the Wolfpack following Sidney Lowe. Gottfried had success at Murray State, Alabama, and spent some time as a TV commentator. said at times he felt lonely on the road as a television commentator. And I saw you agreeing with him.
Totally
That
agree.
is so sad.
Yeah, it's lonely out here. You know, he was an assistant at UCLA, Mark, for 8 years under Jim Herrick. In fact, he was on that staff of the team in '95 that won a championship over Arkansas. But he takes a lot of his principles from John Wooden. We're going to see Robinson go to the foul line here. But Mark Gottfried, a John Wooden disciple, runs a lot of UCLA-based offense. He even repeated a couple of Wooden-style mantras yesterday. I said, you've stuck with a lot of the UCLA stuff, huh? And he said, yeah, as Coach Wooden used to say, coach what you know and know what you coach.
Thomas Robinson, 9 points and 8 rebounds.
And there's that pyramid of success that John Wooden wrote. And it's on the wall in the weight room at North Carolina State. So not only strategically, but philosophically, Mark Gottfried reaching back to his UCLA roots.
And at Alabama, Gottfried's teams made it to 5 NCAA appearances, including an Elite 8 back in 2004. Game is tied at 28. Wood was about to force it and then gave it up to Tyler Harris, making his first appearance tonight. Connor Tehan on the drive again. Wow.
You might only see 2 layups a month from Connor Tehan. We've seen 2 in the last few minutes here. And at the other end, he's doing a great job of really shadowing Wood, who's North Carolina State's best three-point shooter. In fact, one of the best in the country.
Wood to this point with only 1 shot attempt. A minute and a half left, first half. And that is deflected by Harris. And they say last touch by Kansas. Bill Self appealing to the officials. He thought Tyler Harris, yes, he gets the call. It was last touch by Harris of North Carolina State.
Yeah. Good job by the officials to confer and get it right. Meanwhile, NC State, they need to knock down a three-pointer or 2 just to soften up this Kansas defense. Of course, we could say the same thing in the other direction. Kansas 0 for 6 from the three-point line. This game really being played in the paint.
As we see right here with Robinson getting the roll. 11 points for Thomas Robinson in a bounce back, facing a different scenario than he saw last week against Purdue. Now Wood with room for 3, yes. Scott Wood, who is an excellent shooter, coming up with his first field goal.
Tehan fell asleep for the first time all game, Marvin. That's all Wood needs.
Robinson on the follow. Rebounded by Harris.
That was a big shot from Wood. Mark Gottfried's going to take a timeout to make sure his team closes this half well. But that 3 from Wood just keeps the momentum going for the Wolfpack.
Reminder coming up on AT&T at the half. Greg Gumbel, Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley will take you out for a live look at Kentucky, Indiana, plus all the latest NCAA tournament news, all coming up on AT&T at the half.
How about that Kentucky-Indiana game? I think it was 50-47 at the half. It's now 52-49 early second. That's like the final score of half the games in this tournament. But both those teams love to get up and down and run and shoot. That's got to be a wildly entertaining game.
Here in St. Louis, a half minute remaining first half. Leslie being played now by Whiffy. Shot clock to 10. Leslie, really slick, beautiful move, able to spin his way against the 7-footer.
Against the 7-footer and 4 of his teammates. Seemed like everybody on Kansas was in the paint.
Final seconds of the half. Rutherford could find the shot. Tehan does. Halftime in St. Louis. And North Carolina State with a 33-32 lead on Kansas. C.J. Leslie, only 4 of 12, but he's the high point man with 12 points. Thomas Robinson, a strong first half, 11 points and 9 rebounds. And Jeff Withey with a Kansas record for a half, 7 blocked shots. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, Coach, you got off to a great start, double-digit lead, but they came back. Were you getting the shots you wanted?
Sometimes. I think what we've got to do is be a lot stronger with the ball around the rim. They've scored around the rim. They've got a lot of offensive rebounds. We've had our hands on a lot of balls, but we're not securing it. We got to be a little stronger. It's going to be a physical game, a little tougher game, so we got to toughen up just a little bit.
All right, thanks a lot. At intermission right now, NC State 33, Kansas 32. We'll send you to the AT&T at the half after a quick break. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
AT&T at the half is sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. Rethink possible.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to AT&T at the half and at the break in St. Louis. North Carolina State with a 1-point lead on the Kansas Jayhawks by a score of 33-32. I'm joined by Greg Anthony, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley. As we look at the first half highlights here, is it Kansas not playing as well as they can, or NC State doing the job?
I think NC State is proven to be more than capable and able in terms of how they go out and compete, and they've done a good job. C.J. Leslie's been very aggressive in this game. He's got 12 points to go along with 4 rebounds and done the job. Thomas Robinson, you know, coming off the disappointing performance against Purdue, he's come in very active and aggressive in this game thus far, almost a double-double, 11 points, 9 rebounds. But for me, it all boils down to Tyshawn Taylor from Kansas' standpoint. He's only 5 of 20 in the last game and a half that he's played. He has to be far more effective on the floor if they want to have a chance to get to a Final Four.
I think he's confused, Greg. I said picked him as my sleeper player coming into the tournament, and he's been asleep. So Tyshawn Taylor's got to pick it up. Sometimes, you know, we talk about all these stats and all this. Sometimes you just have to play better basketball. Like Coach Williams said, we got to play better basketball for North Carolina. Tyshawn Taylor has not had a good tournament. I told people coming in, we had to pick a sleeper guy who was going to shock people. He has not played well. And Robinson got his hands full tonight with those big guys at NC State. This game is going to go down to the wire.
And you talk about better basketball, Chuck. It's more about it's decisions. When you say better basketball, we just got to play better. We just got to make better decisions. Because if you shoot 10 shots and I shoot 10 shots, it's when I shoot my 10 is going to determine if I win or not. And I think that's what's going on right now with Taylor. It's not taking comfortable shots and making better decisions. And I think Lorenzo Brown has really done a great job of running that team as well. And, you know, they've been my team up until today. NC State has been my team. I'm saying they're going to get today. I just think that Kansas has just one player too much for NC State. And I think also the ability to guard for Thomas Robinson is to guard people on the perimeter. They're big, so NC State is going to be the difference.
20 minutes to play in St. Louis, and it's a 33-32 NC State lead over Kansas. Meanwhile, over on CBS, Indiana and Kentucky, they are now into the second half.
And playing well. It's an interesting game. Coming in, you would have thought that Indiana would stay in this game with their ability to shoot the 3, and it's actually been the exact opposite. They didn't have Cody Zeller for a long part of that first half, yet they were able to really execute offensively. A lot of backdoor cuts, a lot of slashes to the rim, and a great job of delivering at the right time to attack that vaunted Kentucky defense.
Indiana appears to want to run just as
yeah, but you know, it was interesting. You look at all those plays on those back doors. Kentucky loves to play aggressive defense. But what they forgot was Mr. Davis wasn't back there. That's why. So they got to ease up a little bit in their defense. You can play pressure defense, and you shouldn't be getting those back doors because Mr. Davis is not back there. But they want to run with Kentucky. That, to me, is what's going to wear them down because Kentucky has the greatest margin of error in this entire tournament. And they just going to keep coming for 40 minutes, and it's going to be tough on anybody to stay consistent for 40 minutes.
Yeah, you know, you're putting a lot of pressure on your offense, you know, trying to compete with them as you run. But I think Indiana, obviously having beaten them earlier, you know, it's a different game than different teams. I think both teams are better now than they were when they first played when Indiana beat them by 1. But I think now when you get to the tournament, the way Kentucky has been playing and putting points on the board, if you're going to run, I still say 80 is that magic number.
It was a 3-point lead for Kentucky at halftime. There is now 14:25 to play in the second half, and Kentucky leads it by 6, 66-60. A timeout. Back with more in just a moment.
Wow, this is new.
Yep, I'm sending the dancing chicken to every store in the franchise to get the word out.
That could work, or you could use every door direct mail from the Postal Service. It'll help you and all your franchisees find the customers that matter most, the ones in the neighborhood. You print it, or we'll help you find a local partner.
Great. Keep it moving, honey.
Honey?
That's my wife.
Wow.
There you go. There you go.
Go online to reach every home, every address, every time with Every Door Direct Mail.
Here are the finalists for the 2012 Naismith Trophy, presented by AT&T. SEC Player of the Year, Anthony Davis. Big Ten Player of the Year, Draymond Green. Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year, Doug McDermott. And Big 12 Player of the Year, Thomas Robinson. You can be part of college basketball history. Text VOTE to 34763 on your mobile phone or visit ncaa.com/Naismith Vote to help select the winner of the 2012 Naismith Trophy, presented by AT&T. Welcome back to AT&T at the half. We remind you what's coming your way tomorrow. Road to the Final Four at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS, followed by the West Regional Final. 7th seed Florida, number 4 Louisville at 4:30 Eastern. The East Regional Final, number 2 Ohio State, top seed Syracuse. That one a 7:05 p.m. tip. How about the game earlier this evening in St. Louis between Ohio and North Carolina, Greg?
Unbelievable performance in this game. Give Ohio a lot of credit and give this guy a lot of credit. Tyler Zeller, 2 of his 20 on the day, and then Nick Kellogg knocks down his 3rd three-pointer up to at that point. And I tell you what, Ohio was in this game from the beginning here. Stillman with the miss, and then Zeller, 1 of his 22 rebounds on the game, 8 on the offensive side of the floor. And boy, was he a difference maker. And then DJ Cooper finding Kellogg again for 3. Ohio at this point up 1, and Roy Williams looking like he wants to pull out some hair. John Henson knocking down a jumper to tie it up, and this probably the biggest play of the game. He was an X factor tonight. Reggie Bullock knocks down the 3 to put him up 2 at that point. But Ohio wasn't done. Walter Oates with the drive gets the finish and the foul, unable to convert. Harrison Barnes can't get the shot off at the end, and it goes to overtime. And then afterwards, Tyler Zeller, Roy Henson talking about the gut check they just witnessed from Ohio.
Well, I mean, it's always frustrating when you lose somebody you played with for 2 years. And so something just got to get used to the new point guard. But you also got to give credit to Ohio for the game plan they had. Defensively, they did a great job of trying to keep it out of my hands.
Is there any chance we will see Marshall on Sunday?
You know, Craig, I have no idea. I don't think so, because he still hasn't done anything. But North Carolina's going to play on Sunday. We're happy about that.
At the end of regulation, you know, we're up 4 with 3.5 to go. And, you know, we just didn't make enough plays there. In the overtime, after it went to overtime, they made more plays than we did, and really it was that simple.
Ohio 0 for 6 from the floor in overtime. They just managed 2 free throws. North Carolina wins it by a score of 73-65. This ostensibly from Kendall Marshall. I'm exhausted, shirt drenched, headache, sore throat. Trying to coach is tougher than it looks.
Especially when they're doing what you want them to do. It makes it really tough.
I want to take my hat off to Ohio, man. They really played terrific. You know, they did a terrific job of playing with great confidence. The 3 kept them in the game. So anytime you play against one of these really huge schools, these kids get pumped. That's what the NCAA tournament is about.
Anybody here expect to see Mr. Marshall play on Sunday?
No, I don't think that. You know, like Coach Williams said, I don't think that he's done anything. You know, so in 48 hours, having surgery 48 hours ago, that's a tough order to ask for, I believe.
You had that injury. You had. Can you make it worse?
I don't think. No, you can't make it worse, and there's nothing that's going to hinder his career as a basketball player. But you know, it takes time to heal. You're injured. You're not hurt. You don't have a cut. This is something you've had surgery on, and it's difficult. If he does, he manned up.
You know what?
I'm gonna tell you that.
Though, the one advantage they have is they now had played a game without him. And they've seen kind of how they have to play. Reggie Bullock was huge in this game, 17 points and 10 rebounds. He might be the guy that has to step up. You expect Harrison Barnes to play a little bit better than he did as well.
And by the way, once again, Tyler Zeller with 20 points, 22 rebounds. One other game in the South region kicked off the action tonight. Baylor advanced to the South region final with a 75-70 win over Xavier. Thanks for watching AT&T at the half. We'll get you back out for the second half in just a moment.
AT&T at the Half is sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. Rethink possible.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NCAA for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any picture, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NCAA's consent is prohibited.
Get the latest gear for your team at the official store of the NCAA. Find great hoops merchandise at ncaa.com/shop. As we'll welcome you back to St. Louis, Missouri. 1-point lead for North Carolina State. Marv Albert along with Steve Kerr and Craig Sager. First 5 minutes, NC State led 13-3. Both clubs struggling from the floor in the first half. Kansas able to make the turn, got back into it over the next 8 minutes with that 20-4 run.
Both clubs really making it hard on the other defensively, Marv. And for Kansas, they had very little success, although when they did go inside to Robinson and get the ball swung from the strong side to the weak side, as we see on this play, he could get good position, and they had some success down there. That's why Robinson was able to get 11 points. Meanwhile, Kansas's defense really loading up on C.J. Leslie. Look at this play here. 5 defenders basically in the paint or on the paint line or on the foul line edges, but Leslie still finds a way to get into the teeth of the defense, goes back to his right hand like he likes to do, and then scores over the top of Withey. But baskets like those have been few and far between. A very defensive-minded game.
Leslie leads the Wolfpack. 12 points, although he is shooting just 4 of 12. How about Jeff Withey with 7 blocked shots in the first half?
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by the U.S. Postal Service, Autotrader.com, Buick, and by Bud Light.
North Carolina State by 1 over Kansas as we head to the second half. Let's go to Craig with Kansas head coach Bill Self.
Well, Coach, a great defensive first half, but how do you get your offense to maybe open things up in the final 20 minutes?
Well, be a little poised, you know, get the ball the second or third side, and you know, we did some decent things after we got off to a bad start, but still, yeah, we got to do a better job of blocking them off, keeping them off the glass, and then just show some poise offensively.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Mark.
All right, second half underway, and Elijah Johnson knocks down a 3 to get things going for the Jayhawks.
And that was a very poised possession, like what he asked for. That was a third side offensively, meaning the ball going twice, making the defense move, and that allowed Johnson the opening.
For Kansas, their first 3-pointer of the game. They've missed their previous 8, and they take over by virtue of that turnover. Thomas Robinson, Jeff Withey, the big men with Travis Rutherford, Elijah Johnson, and Tyshawn Taylor. Starting 5 for Kansas.
Meanwhile, Marv, Kansas came out of that half in a much better shape foul-wise. Robinson and Withey 1 foul each. The front line for NC State was in trouble.
Withey could not hit, but Robinson is right there.
Yeah, Leslie and Howell both have 2. Painter, the first big off the bench, the only big off the bench, he has 3. So keep an eye on that.
C.J. Leslie, Scott Wood, Richard Howell up front. This is Leslie curling in. Oh, man. Backcourt of C.J. Williams and Lorenzo Brown. Nice move by Leslie. 2-point lead for Kansas. Foul is called.
Watch this move from Leslie. This is what he does. He's so quick. He'll spin, he'll go around. He loves to turn and face, and he gets around Withey there, but that was his 3rd foul there on the defensive end.
Tyshawn Taylor, 69% free throw shooter for 2 shots You can watch every game on the road to the Final Four live on your computer, iPad, iPhone, or select Android phones with NCAA March Madness Live. Visit ncaa.com/March Madness for more information. Tyshawn Taylor out of Hoboken, New Jersey. One of the fastest guards in the country, averaging 17 points, 6 assists.
But has struggled here tonight, as Charles and the guys talked about at halftime. Taylor was just 1 for 9 in that first half.
Sean Painter has come on for C.J. Leslie, who just picked up that third foul a moment ago. Brown with that high dribble, rejected by Withy. That is block shot number 8, and Withy comes up with the loose ball.
Looked like Robinson got away with a foul there. I thought he grabbed Howell on the arm on his way up.
Rutherford to the crossover. Oh! Brown will reset. Pass picked off and then deflected out of bounds. Last touch by Taylor.
And with Leslie on the bench with those 3 fouls, well, I would look for NC State to try to get its offense going through Lorenzo Brown. They just tried to get a backdoor cut there to try to take advantage of the pressure being put on Wood. But they have been stifled, really, trying to free Wood up for a 3-point shot. Brown has to get penetration.
Here is Wood, only his third shot attempt. Painter defending on Robinson is trying to front him. Now the double, and it ends up as a deflected pass. Last touch by North Carolina State.
I think that immediate double team from Mark Gottfried was because of that foul trouble that you're looking at right there. He wants to protect his bigs. So he's bringing that double team right away, which means Kansas has to start knocking down some outside shots.
They double up on Robinson. He gets it to Withy. Second field goal for Withy, but the big number, his stat line, the 8 rejections. You can hear the Kansas crowd coming to life once again. Brown, rebound snatched by Taylor. Pass behind Rutherford, back by Williams. Beautiful passing. Rutherford is rejected. Nice play by Howell coming up with the block shot.
There's so many athletes on the front line in this game. Leslie's going to come back into this game for Painter, but look at the recovery from Howell. 2 athletic front lines going head-to-head. Gottfried goes back to Leslie. He knows this is danger time right now for the Wolfpack. They can't afford to have Leslie on the bench.
Rutherford off the inbounds. Kansas has opened up a 7-point lead, a 10-2 run to start the second half. Timeout, North Carolina State. We've been talking about the 8 blocked shots to this point by Jeff Withy of Kansas. The most blocks in an NCAA tournament game since 1986. Shaquille O'Neal coming up with 11 for LSU against Brigham Young. First round play, March 19th, 1992. Apparently 1986, Steve, the first year that blocks were officially kept in NCAA play. NCAA tournament play, I should say.
Withy's got a shot at that record. He needs 3 more to tie it. And the way this game is going with all the inside play from NC State, he'll be out there. He'll get his chances.
Shot clock to 7. Forced by Howell. Kansas with a 7-point lead, looking to add to it. Taylor comes up short. Robinson with the rebound. Finds Withy, and he is fouled. Withy will head to the line, but first we'll take a break.
Back in St. Louis, Kansas by 7. We've been talking about the incredible defense of Jeff Withey. He's been credited with 8 blocks so far. Should have been 9. You see he gets a finger on that one from Howell, and that leads to transition the other way, which eventually ends up in C.J. Leslie's 4th foul. So NC State at a critical juncture of this game, they've got to somehow hang on with their star on the bench.
Jeff Withey to the line for the first time, a 79% free throw shooter. The Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, and he has emerged in this his junior season. Not able to get a game last week against Purdue. Played only 15 minutes due to the matchups and was not a factor following a strong performance against Detroit in Kansas' second round appearance.
This is his kind of game. And if Kansas can win today, Sunday will be his kind of game too, with all that size for Carolina.
12-2-1 for Kansas. They've opened up the second half, outscoring the Wolfpack 12-2. Now trying to go to the crossover. Here's Williams. Kept alive by Howell. Brown taking to the rim.
Well, with Leslie out, Brown has to be the guy to create the offense for NC State. Mark Gottfried called a set for him. He tried to back down. Taylor couldn't get anything, but ultimately ends up with the ball. And now Wolfpack fall back in a 2-3 zone.
5 minutes gone by, second half. Rebounded by Brown. A flip for Howell. Peter spinning.
Withey right there again.
Johnson is met by Wood. Elijah Johnson. Travis Relaford. Robinson double teamed and lost it. North Carolina State 22-12 overall. They went 9-7 in the ACC, turning it from a year ago when they were 1 under the 500 mark. Here's Wood, a tough angle shot. Rebounded by Robinson. He tried to slam it off the foot of Williams, and the officials conferring on the call. Well, apparently stepped out. So it is North Carolina State in possession. Substitutions for Kansas, Connor Tehan and Kevin Young. Check back in.
Kansas has to be very careful with Wood here. They can't fall asleep like they did in the first half. In the last couple of minutes of that half, he hit a big 3 when he was able to free himself up. Johnson has to stay with him.
And there is Wood with a deep 3. Scott Wood, 6'6" junior from Marion, Indiana, who averages 12 points per game, and he shoots 42% from downtown.
That's a huge shot because it just gives them hope. Again, same as the end of the first half. His shot was so big just in keeping the momentum going.
Brown nearly picked it off. Tehan back for Robinson. Connor Tehan has played very well.
Oh, what a pass from Tehan. Great ball movement in general from Kansas. Patience against that zone. Finally ending up with the ball in Robinson's hand.
Throwing game for Thomas Robinson. 15 points, 12 rebounds. Taylor lost to Robinson with the steal. Leads Johnson. Elijah Johnson on the break. Kansas has an 8-point lead. Nowhere to go. Wood for 3. And Robinson on the loose ball. Carolina State will face North Carolina in the Midwest Regional Final here in St. Louis on Sunday. Robinson. And a foul is called on the Jayhawks. It is on Young.
Well, Kansas gets out in transition here after the Robinson steal. He finds Elijah Johnson. Easy 2 for Kansas. They've got an 8-point lead.
Greg Gumbel in New York with a tournament update over on CBS in Atlanta. The top seed in the South, Kentucky, trying to keep on top of Indiana. Darius Miller has 17 for the Wildcats. It is a 86-77 lead, under 4 minutes to play in the second half. Marv?
All right, thank you, Greg. 8-point Kansas lead with just over 8 minutes gone by in the second half here in St. Louis.
Leslie's still on the bench with the 4 fouls, and Mark Gottfried's going to have to play this delicately. He can't afford to get behind by too much, or he's going to have to bring him back pretty soon here.
Wood getting it down low. Harris did not hit. Nice touch by Tyler Harris.
NC State's fans are so upset behind us here. Marv Howell with that offensive board. And no call. He really kind of forced the action. Wolfpack looking for a foul on Withy, but he did a nice job of staying tall.
This has obviously not been a good shooting game, although Kansas has picked it up. They're 6 of 12 from the field thus far in this second half. Young had it knocked away. Here's Brown. Pass behind him. Could not handle. Back comes Taylor. Puts it in front of him. The lob from Tyshawn Taylor to Jeff Withy.
And give Taylor credit, Marv, because he's shooting 1 for 10 tonight. It clearly has not been his day, but he has kept his enthusiasm, his energy, and his defensive intensity up. As Wood's going to get fouled on a 3. But I've been so impressed with Taylor's countenance in this game. Despite his countenance.
Whoa, I've never heard you use that word.
I try to pick a new one out once in a while. But it's tough when you go 1 for 10, and you know it's so easy to feel sorry for yourself. And Taylor just maintained his poise, and he's high-fiving his teammates during timeouts, and he makes a huge play there.
So Scott Wood, one of the best free throw shooters in the nation at 90%. You use that word around the house?
Frequently, yeah.
With the kids?
Yeah. My youngest frequently has nice countenance.
Yeah. This year, enjoy more madness with Coke Zero. Text CAMP to 2653 for a chance to attend an ultimate basketball camp with 3 of your friends.
But only 3, not 4.
I'd have trouble finding 3. We've talked about that in the past. Yes. Kansas up by 7.
Big play there. Wood getting the 3 free throws. Kansas, it felt like they were pulling away. It just buys C.J. Leslie maybe a couple more minutes on the bench.
Harris, a nice job momentarily fronting Robinson, and then off that scramble for the loose ball, it's batted out of bounds by North Carolina State. 17 on the shot clock. Robinson played on Harris. Harris, a freshman out of Dix Hills, New York. Rutherford with a catch and shoot for 3. Lorenzo Brown challenging Jeff Withy and fired one up. Here's Howell. Robinson able to grab the rebound.
And the ones that Withy isn't blocking, he's affecting anyway, just with his presence down there. Meanwhile, NC State has used the 2-3 zone. Now they go back to the man.
Shot clock to 10. And out of bounds by Howell of North Carolina State. Tyshawn Taylor will return, coming on for Connor Tehan. Elijah Johnson tosses in. Shot clock to 7. Taylor. Here come the Wolfpack. Withy was chasing the play. The ball was batted away. Foul is called on Kansas. That's number 2 on Withy.
NC State really forcing the action. Marv, Leslie on the bench, so they're trying to get any easy points they can. So Brown really pushing the ball in transition. And this is a team that is capable. They average about 14 fast break points per game this year. So they will get out and run on you, and that's exactly what they need to do here with Leslie on the bench.
Renzo Brown at the line, averaging just under 13 a game. TNT this summer, the end is just the beginning. From TNT and DreamWorks Television, Falling Skies for the latest on the new season. Like us on Facebook. Lorenzo Brown has made the transition from 2-guard to the point. Mark Godfrey very pleased with his play. Brown a sophomore. That's 10 points. And North Carolina State pulling within 5. Robinson. Withy on a foul. It's on the Wolfpack.
This game has just been so physical. Well, Robinson just tried to will his way to the rim on that play, and then they end up with a couple of offensive rebounds. Was that Brown who got called for the foul? Yeah. Meanwhile, C.J. Leslie continues to sit, and I think as long as the Pack can keep this thing within 5-7 points, Gottfried will keep him on the bench and try to bring him in maybe the last 5 or 6 minutes.
There's a second foul committed by Brown. Just under 9 minutes to play. Second half. Withy comes out to set the screen. Taylor gets it down low. They collapse on Robinson. And he will head to the line. Fourteen rebounds for Thomas Robinson. He, in terms of a single season, with 428 and counting, only Wilt Chamberlain had more rebounds in a single season. That was back in 1957.
Not a bad list there. Robinson knocks down the free throw. Great job against that zone for Kansas, getting the ball swung and allowing Robinson to establish that low post position.
Robinson 4 of 7 at the line. Kansas has a 6-point lead. The winner here goes against North Carolina. And the Elite 8 on Sunday will have that game on CBS. Nice pickup, and then the shot by Howell is blocked, and last touch by Howell.
Boy, frustration for Richard Howell tonight. He just can't get anything over the top of Withy, and Robinson doing a nice job of bodying him as well. Howell will go to the bench. He's 2 for 11 from the floor. He's got 14 rebounds, but you can see the frustration on his face. Just has not been able to convert.
And that was the 9th blocked shot by Jeff Withy. Deshaun Painter and Alex Johnson have come back for North Carolina State. Rutherford shoots for 3. And Brown on the rebound. Brown off the dribble, trying to set it up. Painter, see how he is affected by Withy. And then Harris cannot hit. Rutherford with the spirit. Oh, what a move. Travis Rutherford spinning his way.
And what a turn of events, because Harris had an easy 2, but he felt Withy's presence, so he rushed it, and that led to the transition hoop the other way, a 4-point swing.
Wood looking for some room, goes to the runner. Withy rebounds, and he is hit. Foul committed by Tyler Harris.
about this move. Travis Relaford in transition, a little deep to the left, a spin, the lay-in, and the Jayhawks up by 8.
A look at our game summary. North Carolina State now 27% from the field. C.J. Leslie picking up a 4th foul and has been sitting and now checks back in. Big story for Kansas. Actually a combo story with Thomas Robinson coming up with a 26 double-double and the 7-foot center Jeff Withey with 9 blocked shots. That ties a career record. 3rd time he's had 9 in a game. Robinson.
Set play out of the timeout from Bill Self, and a great job by Kansas getting the ball to Robinson down on the block where he could just go right up with it before NC State could defend him with any helpers.
Kansas by 10. Leslie. C.J. Leslie off the bench and able to connect. He has 16 points.
That's about the extent of his range, Marvin. With this lineup in for NC State, Kansas can really pack its defense in. Wood getting a rest. Very little three-point shooting for the Wolfpack.
Relaford getting the pick from Young. Here's Young on the roll. And the foul is called on North Carolina State.
This was the set play we talked about. Kansas running a little rub pick for Taylor. Young gets the ball on the elbow, and all the while that's going on, Robinson establishing that presence right in front of the hoop.
C.J. Williams called for the foul. That'll put Kevin Young at the line for the first time. Just under 70%. Kevin Young, a 6'8" junior, transferred to Kansas after 2 years at Loyola Marymount, where he was averaging 10 points, 6 rebounds. So Kansas now leads 56-47. Coming up on 6 minutes remaining. Wood with some room. He came out looking for the block shot on that three-point attempt. There's Wood again. Rebounded by Robinson. Broken up. Lorenzo Brown in the middle of the pack. Leslie. And let's see. Oh, it's a blocking foul. For a moment it appeared that C.J. was going to pick up number 5.
That sloppy action going back and forth. Looked like Robinson had perfect position there. I'm not sure why this is a block. It's either a flop and a no call or it's a charge, but it's not a block.
Instead, Robinson hit with a second foul.
Robinson gets so out of hand sometimes in transition. He gets so excited. I mean, he handles the ball pretty well for a big guy, and he can really run. But he's got to be smarter than that in transition on that last play.
Brown not able to hit on that open 3. Now here's Wood. Williams for 3. Yes. C.J. Williams knocks down a 3. The Kansas lead is trimmed to 6.
Every time it feels like Kansas is pulling away, NC State finds a way to make a big play. There you see Leslie getting stretched out. He may have some cramps here. But give NC State credit. The zone has kept Kansas off balance. Jayhawks are 1 for 12 from the three-point line. You see the woes for NC State offensively, and yet they're only 6 down.
Wood defending on Relaford. Here's Robinson. Taylor. Relaford's pass picked off. Hayner deciding not to
Everybody on the bench yelling at him, get the ball back out to Brown.
Williams for three. And Taylor comes up with it.
Both teams look tired right now, Marv. I think both coaches just trying to get to the under 4-minute timeout.
Taylor attempting the lob, and it carried out of bounds, so the ball back to North Carolina State. Leslie checks back in, comes on for Painter. Rutherford will sit down. And Kentucky defeating Indiana, so in the regional final in Atlanta, it will be Kentucky and Baylor on Sunday on CBS.
How about Kentucky? They score 102 points tonight.
Foul on Robinson, so that is his third.
This is how NC State started this game, trying to isolate Leslie on Robinson. The change here is that he goes baseline. Early in the game, he was trying to get to the middle, and Kansas's guards were there to help. But Leslie trying to go baseline that time where there's no help from the guards.
15 foul called on Kansas. NC State with 6. Approaching 4 minutes remaining. 6-point Kansas lead. Brown getting inside. I believe he was looking for Howell.
Couldn't tell if that was a shot or a pass. Either way, Kansas just continues to bottle up the Wolfpack defensively.
Oh, Taylor. A little spin off glass by Tyshawn Taylor. 8-point lead for the Jayhawks. Leslie swinging in. Oh, beautiful move. Able to avoid Withy, who comes up hobbling.
Yeah, Withy really limping here, but Bill Self does not want to use a timeout. He's only got 3 left, and there's an automatic coming next dead ball.
Connor Tehan. Deflected out of bounds, last touch by North Carolina State.
Tyshawn Taylor not getting much to go from the outside, but look at the athleticism and spin move off the glass. 3:09 to play. Kansas by 6. We'll get a look here at why Jeff Withy was hobbling. Look at his right or left thigh. Gets tangled up there with Leslie. May have gotten a slight little Charlie horse. And meanwhile, Leslie, how about the shot that he's able to get off? Just that subtle little hook move. Amazing the way he's able to contort his body and find ways to get that shot off.
It appears Jeff Withy was able to walk it off. It is Kansas ball at their baseline as we come up on 3 minutes to play. Kansas up by 6. Looking to advance to the Elite 8 and a matchup against the Tar Heels of North Carolina on Sunday on CBS. Here's Taylor, Robinson, and Withy try to save it, and it's deflected out, so the ball back to the Wolfpack.
Looked like they both had a chance at that offensive rebound. That would have been the 20th on the night for Kansas, but they couldn't secure it, and that leaves the door open for State.
Kansas portion of the crowd coming to life, looking for a stop here by the Jayhawks. Brown for 3. Last touched by North Carolina State. Deflected out by Howell with 2:27 remaining.
Well, what a struggle for both teams offensively. Dangerous pass there from Tehan to Robinson.
Withy comes out to set the screen.
NC State back to their man-to-man.
And now Bill Self wants to talk things over. takes a timeout. We'll be back to St. Louis in a moment.
Thanks for the ticket, man.
Thanks to my State Farm agent for saving me $480.
No sweat. Hey, look, we're on fan cam.
Having the extra cash sure helps.
And I can save even more by combining your auto and renter's policies.
Cool. But what if we bought a house?
Auto and home? We have even bigger savings for that.
Wow, sounds good.
More savings any way you shake it.
Want to split some nachos?
Sure.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
Well, the first 2 slots of the Final Four in Division II are filled tomorrow. Full slate of college basketball, beginning with the Infinity tip-off on True TV, followed by the Division II championship on CBS. 19 on the shot clock, 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in this second half. Kansas in possession. They have a 6-point lead. Elijah Johnson takes in the backcourt. Taylor wide open for 3.
Boy, just can't buy one tonight. Kansas 1 for 14 from the line.
There's Wolf for 3, and again he is fouled in 3-point territory.
Unbelievable. That's the second time he's been fouled on a 3-pointer here in the last 5 minutes or so. Bill Self can't believe it. At one end, Taylor with a wide open 3. But a long miss leads to a long rebound, and he does bump him on the way down. You have to allow that shooter room to come down.
Foul on Elijah Johnson, so it stops the clock, and it puts one of the great free throw shooters in the nation at 90% at the line.
And if he makes this one, we've got a 1-possession game, which seems almost impossible. It's felt like Kansas has been in control here most of the second half. But NC State has just found a way to hang around. Some of it Kansas is doing. They just can't make a shot right now.
Light pressure shown by North Carolina State. They have moved within 3 with just under 2 minutes remaining second half. Bobbled it. Shot clock to 9. Taylor lost it. Here come the Wolfpack, 2-on-1. It is a 1-point game. C.J. Williams on the layup. Look out, Taylor able to save it. Coming up on a minute remaining and a timeout called by Kansas again. 58-57, Kansas clinging to a 1-point lead. The Wolfpack with a 7-0 run, able to convert off the turnover. Gottfried of North Carolina State has 3 timeouts remaining. Kansas with only 1. It's a 1-point game. How does North Carolina State play it here?
Well, they don't need to foul. They can play out the possession. Kansas has had all kinds of trouble trying to score. So NC State can rely on its defense. And if you're Kansas, you got to get the ball to Robinson on the block if possible. But NC State has made that very difficult.
Shot clock to 10. 50 seconds remaining in the half. Johnson saves it. 1 on the shot clock. Johnson heaves one, and it is a shot clock violation. The ball back to North Carolina State.
Boy, the turnovers and the really ill-advised decision-making by Kansas here in the last couple minutes has allowed Mark Gottfried's club to hang around, and now almost impossibly they've got a chance to take the lead.
Kansas with 5 turnovers the last 4 minutes. Timeout is called by NC State. Kansas by 1. 37 seconds remaining. Coming up next on TBS, Ernie Johnson, Seth Davis, Steve Smith, and Virginia Commonwealth head coach Shaka Smart. We'll have highlights and analysis on Inside March Madness presented by Buick. How about this meltdown by the Jayhawks of Kansas?
Unbelievable. I mean, they were in total control of this game, but they couldn't pull away. And now for NC State, I think you bring Wood off of a double pick and then get Leslie on the block on the same side.
A 12-3 run by North Carolina State. Here is Wood for three. Back tap kept alive by Leslie. Leslie on the move. Leslie blocked. Rutherford able to get to it. Here comes Taylor. They have to foul, and Brown picks up the foul. And that puts North Carolina State over the limit.
Wood had a decent look coming off that double. Not a great one, but a decent one. And then the offensive board here, and this was the best opportunity. Leslie at his best going to the hoop. Great block. Was it Robinson or Withy? And now Taylor goes to the line.
He is 2 of 4 at the line, a 69% free throw shooter.
And this should be 1-1. So a ton of pressure on Tyshawn Taylor. And if you're Mark Gottfried, if he misses, do you let your team go or do you call a timeout? Remember, we saw Wisconsin last night with a timeout try to play out the last possession, and they couldn't get anything to go to beat Syracuse. But that's up to the coach. Tough decision.
North Carolina State does have 2 timeouts remaining. Kansas with 1. It is tipped out of bounds. Last touched by North Carolina State. Howell reaching for it, not able to control.
Unbelievable. What a bad break for NC State. Howell so frustrated. That free throw was missed so badly that the carom came off almost too far for Howell to retrieve. Now if you're Kansas, I think you got to get the ball to Elijah Johnson. He's been your most reliable player here the last few games. He has not gone to the free throw line yet tonight.
Now C.J. Leslie will sit down. This is a defensive offensive shuffle by Mark Gunn. Oh, Elijah Johnson able to break free, took the pass and extends the lead. Elijah Johnson off the inbounds pass hits on the drive to extend the Kansas lead to 3. And now Kansas using its final timeout.
Watch Johnson make a move right into the paint. NC State was so concerned about denying the pass out on the perimeter that it allowed him an open lane, and he finishes with the lay-in, and then Bill Self calls the timeout to get his defense set up.
13.5 remaining in regulation. What a doubleheader. Although this game obviously not nearly as well played as we saw in the opener between North Carolina and Ohio.
Meanwhile, NC State with 2 timeouts left, Lawrence, so they have a decision to make. Do they go for a 3 with Wood, or do they attack the basket? I would attack the rim here with Leslie. If they can push the ball ahead, I would attack, because there's no way Kansas will want to foul. And if you can get to the hoop, you never know. You may draw a foul anyway. Then with the 2 timeouts left, you can still stop the clock and play the foul game.
C.J. Leslie checking back in. He was pulled for the possession at the defensive end. Another look on that inbounds play with Elijah Johnson able to score.
C.J. Williams was extended so far out beyond the 3-point line. And that's what allowed him that lane. Meanwhile, NC State calls a timeout.
Hey, Tom, where's Barbara and the kids? We got Dish's new HD DVR, the Hopper. Lets us record up to 6 shows at once and play them back in any room. The Hopper? Yeah, the Hopper.
The Hopper?
Hopper. Hopper.
Hopper.
The Hopper! The Hopper!
Hopper.
Hopper. Hopper.
Hopper!
Shut up! Hopper.
Introducing the Hopper, a whole home HD DVR that lets you record up to 6 shows at once and play them back in any room. And it's free when you sign up for Dish.
North Carolina State down to 1 timeout remaining. Kansas used their final timeout. Kansas foul would put them over the limit. You see possession arrow in favor of North Carolina State. So we have come to the final seconds here. 13.5 left. And Kansas up by 3.
And if NC State hits a 3, Kansas without a timeout, they have to just go.
Lorenzo Brown fires cross court to Wood. Here's Howell for 3. Apparently Wood stepped out.
Yeah, he stepped out on the sideline. That's a difficult play to run with a cross court pass. And the pass is high, and look at Wood comes right down on that line. Nice idea on the play, but tough execution with the angle of the pass.
Wood was backpedaling, could not get to it, and the foul is given with 4.3 to go. Thomas Robinson is the man that North Carolina State would like to see at the line. He's 4 of 8 from the free throw line, a 68% shooter at the strike.
NC State with 1 timeout left, Marv. So again, a decision for Gottfried. If he misses, I think you just go. I don't think you even mess around with a timeout. I think you just push it and try to beat Kansas to the punch before they can set up their defense.
1-1 for Robinson.
Missed it.
All right, here comes Wood, and no, they call for time. And they'll have to check the clock. It shows 2.9, but they'll take a look.
And I think he called it because the ball got deflected, and it took a full second, almost a second and a half off the clock. So good move there from Gottfried.
The question is how much time remaining. We're listening for the whistle, and the officiating crew over to check the replay. Michael Stevens, Brian O'Connell, Greg Nixon.
Looked to me like maybe 3.1, right in that range. Let's listen to it one more time. I think if they had gotten the ball cleanly, they just would have pushed it. But when it's deflected and the full second goes out, let's listen in. Well, regardless, whether there's 2.9 or maybe 3.1, 3.2, you know, we saw this last week, Marv, with Missouri against Norfolk State, trying to advance the ball. So if you're NC State, you've got to get either the pass all the way down to a player in position to maybe take a dribble and get himself into 3-point range, or get Lorenzo Brown on the run, on the move, and give him enough time to bounce it and get up a shot.
They continue to show 2.9, so apparently that's what it is. And C.J. Williams will throw in from his backcourt.
I don't think Kansas will foul here, Marv, but that's always an option. But just very little time to make anything happen.
Pass intended for Wood, and it's Howell coming up short, and Kansas holds on for the victory over North Carolina State. The final, Kansas 60, NC State 57. And Kansas advances to the Elite Eight to face North Carolina Sunday. A game that will be seen on CBS. Kansas goes to 30-6. They advance to the Elite Eight for the 4th time the last 8 years. Thomas Robinson with a double-double, 18 points, 15 rebounds. Here's a look at that last play.
Ideally, that pass should have been at the foul line, and they had Wood running the wing. But you see Wood coming down. I think they wanted Howell to pass to Wood, but the pass was so wide of the mark that it was impossible to execute. And then Howell just has to throw one up there.
And the big numbers, Robinson 18 and 15, and Jeff Withey with a career high 10 block shots. Let's go to Craig.
Well, Coach, a terrific night of basketball here in St. Louis. How relieved are you that you're able to pull this one out?
It's 2 in a row. You know, we got off to a horrible start again, and then really guarded them well, really after the first 10 minutes or so, but didn't rebound the ball great. And then we had some guys that usually make plays or make free throws. We just didn't do it tonight, but fortunately we got enough stops.
Thomas Robinson is your Big 12 Player of the Year. You're sensational tonight. But what about what Jeff Withey did to keep you guys in the ball game?
Well, the thing about Jeff, he's a great rim protector. And, you know, I had to watch the tape, but I don't know how many blocks he had, probably 10 or 12, but he probably altered another 5 or 6. I thought he was a huge force defensively. They got behind us too many times, and he bailed us out.
Well, thanks a lot. Officially, he had 10 blocks. Obviously, at one point, it looked like you were tired. I think you petted, you wanted out. Coach said, no, you're staying in. What was it that you saw that you could block their shots or deflect so many?
You know, that's what I do is block shots. When I got a little winded down there when I started pulling my shirt. You know, they're a great team. You know, they got the best of us tonight. You know, it was a quick game. You know, they rebound the ball well, and you know, it was a great game. And that's what I do is block shots.
A great game tonight, Thomas, but you got a big task ahead of you Sunday where you take on North Carolina, their big front line. What do you guys have to do? What do you expect out of your teammates in that game?
We just got to play bigger. You know, we let their bigs get the best of us tonight. You know, they got a lot of second chance points that me and Jeff allowed, you know, but Jeff still stepped up tonight. And, you know, going against that front line, that line of North Carolina, we got to step up and play big come Sunday.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations. And we will have Kansas against Carolina on Sunday. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Craig, the last time that they met, Kansas in the 2008 NCAA Final Four defeated North Carolina, and then Bill Self's Jayhawks went on to take the national championship. Again, the final score, Kansas 60, North Carolina State 57. It will be North Carolina and Kansas on CBS on Sunday. Coming up, Inside March Madness presented by Buick for Steve Kerr, Craig Sager, and the rest of our crew. I'm Marv Albert saying good night from St. Louis. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll send you to our NCAA studio.